Okay, we're going to take a look at working on the sectional views. Try and get two of them finished this morning. If we go back and look at the PDF, some of the information that's on here will be repeated on the sectional view. So if I'm looking at the front stoop and the basement walls, I'm going to be looking at information like this, that we have a continuous concrete footing, that the footing size is 16 inches by 8 inches, that there are two number 4 steel continuous, so they go all the way around the footing, they have to be tied together, and at 4-foot increments we have number 4 steel vertical going up and down through the footing of the basement wall. So these will be on center. We'll talk about that in a minute, but we're going to go and look at the footings in Revit. So here I'm back in Revit. If I go down here to the front stoop, this is probably a good one to start on because it's the smallest, has least detail. My labels were setting kind of in on the design here. I can slide them out, or I can also take this window and maybe slide it in because I don't need a lot of this floor system. Now right now the detail level is set at, if I go down here to this second button, here's the scale, 1/2 inch equals a foot, that's the first button. The next one is detail level. If I touch detail level, this is set to coarse, I believe. If I set this to medium, look what happens. I get this hatch pattern in here. I don't like that, but I'm going back to coarse. We will use the medium when we get to the post and footing. Now, this is a concrete slab that we put in earlier. No pattern is showing up here. So if I touch that slab, go over here to edit type. So here's my slab. Hit edit type. Right here it says under the coarse scale there is no fill pattern. So if I click in here, I don't want to type anything in necessarily, but this little ellipses, this little square with 3 dots shows up. If you touch that, you can set this to concrete and say OK. When we say OK, we have our cement pattern up here. So we're going to add a few details to this. I'm going to put 2 little dots in here that represent the number 4 rebar, and then I'll put a couple of them up here, and I'm going to put a thick poly line going it'll stick out of the stem wall a little bit up into this slab, so that anchors it together. Go down here into the footing. So there will be a pin that's put in the footing, and then a wire tie for another piece of metal that goes up. We'll just represent it as one continuous piece of steel. So I'm going to go up to Annotate, and I'm going to go over to Detail Line, and one of the options on Detail Line is a circle. And here's the line style, it says center line. I'm going to set this to, I think I do this as a wide line usually. So it's at wide lines, and I'm going to use circle. And I'm going to zoom in here, and right down here I'm going to put in a circle, and usually I draw it at 1/2 inch, push escape because it won't let me really do it at 1/4, and then I'm going to change it to 0.25 inches. So it's easier to draw it at whatever size and then to change it to 1/4 inch. Now a number 4 piece of rebar is 1/2 inch in diameter. I drew that as 1/4, but I'm using a wide line. It works out fine. So if I have one drawn, and we're going to do this every place we see this footing, so you'll do it on the basement walls and the sections on the full wall. You'll have it on the garage. You'll have it on the post and footing. So you'll have to do this little dot thing several times. But if I draw one of them, I can go up here to Copy. And one of the options under Copy, if you pay attention to this bar, is Multiple. So if I turn that on, I can copy this from here. I can put one over here. Then I'm going to put one somewhere up here, and somewhere, up in here. They have to be And you can put dimensions on this if you want to check it, or you can check distances. The distance from here to here is 1 foot. And that's probably okay. And what's the distance from here approximately to here? Oh, it's exactly 2 foot. That's what it needs to be. I mean, and it's just a representation, but so we have the 2 here, we've got 1 here, 1 here. That's all we would need on this short wall. On the 8-foot wall, you'll need 1 every 2 foot. So you'll start probably 1 foot up, like this, and go 2 foot, 2 foot, 2 foot. Got those guys in. I'm going to go back to detail line. I'm still set to wide line, and I'm going to go with a line and just come up here, and I'll stay on one side of that dot or the other and just draw a line and bring it down in. That's my continuous rebar. Sometimes, you can put it on either side of the line. So those are my rebar. Now I have to put some text on this. Now I can dimension this, and that's okay if you want to put some dimensions on it. And that will save you some lettering, but here's linear, and I can go from here to here, put that at 8 inches, and then go annotate again, and linear 1'4". Get them about the same distance apart. If you don't want to put the text on there, the dimensions, you could put a leader on there that says continuous footing 16 by 8, similar to what is right here. So I'm going to go and I'm going to point at those dots and say 2 number 4 steel continuous, and then I'm going to do another one that says number 4 steel traverses at 48. So we're going to put this information on there with a leader. And we'll flip back to there, make sure we get it correct. In fact, since I'm using this form of windows, I should be able to dock that guy to the side. Slide that over, have it set right there. And if you take this guy and set it over there, the thing I don't like about that is this kind of gets in the way, so I can close it and open it up later. So I don't know if you want to play with it like this or not. So I have to go to annotate. We're going to do, let's go full size with this for a minute. I'm going to do text, and here are the leaders. I'm going to use this guy here that says leader top left, or sometimes leader bottom. But we'll just have to look at where we're going to place it. I'm actually going to use this leader bottom left. Come in here and touch the footing. Escape. So it's not giving me my leader. Oh, I see why. I have to have one of these selected. This guy, I had just text. I'm sorry. So that might be a mistake you make. I've got the leader, and then I can pick the one of these that I want, and I can change those. But if I come out here, point at that, I have to put a small shoulder on it, and I really want those shoulders to be the same size on all of them. On AutoCAD, that shoulder is controlled with parameters within the software. Here you have to pull the shoulder, so you kind of want to watch the length on them. So we're going to put in there, I'll slide this over, and it's going to say 2 number 4, and I'm going to use all caps on this, I think. 2 number 4 steel, continuous, and then I'm going to do and number 4. Traverse at 48 inches. O.C. dot. We'll see what that looks like. Go full size. I know that I'm going to have to fix some things here because I'm going to edit that a little bit. Continuous and number 4 steel traverse. So we can kind of look at that and see how text fits. I mean, if I want to make more lines out of that, we'll do it that way. OC. So, and that could point there, it could point here, it just has to point somewhere at that wall. It tells us that we have 2 number 4 steel continuous. That really is in the footing, and sometimes we break those up into 2. So I could actually do it this way. I could copy this from here up to here, and if I wanted to, I could take this out and do the number 4 steel traverse at 48 inches, and then I can take this off of here. So either way is going to be correct. It's just that you have some options. Now what I'm always looking at on these leaders is that they're not too flat. I don't want these leaders straight like this or like this. They should be at some kind of an angle. When we did it on the board, they had to be 15, 30, 45, 60, or 75 degrees. And these little shoulders, I mean, people start moving these around and things happen like that. Those shoulders need to be flat, and they shouldn't be really long here and really short here. We need to keep that about the same length. So that's just part of what you look at in neatness on the drawing file. So we've got those guys labeled. We could point to this guy up here and indicate the thickness of the floor system. So I can go to text and I can do a leader, and depends upon which side I'm going to point from. I'm going to take it. It should be one of these two or one of these two. Now here's usually the rule: if it's more than one line of text, it centers on the bottom line of the text if it's going if it's on the left hand side. If it's on the right hand side, it'll be from the top side of the text. So let's see if we can do one. So I'm usually using this bottom one here or this top one here. So I'm going to point in here, come up here, put a little shoulder on it, and I'm going to say 4-inch cement slab. I could go so 4-inch thick cement slab. Now here's one of the things you find. I put a short leader on it, but it comes up here to this piece of text, and what we have is a piece of text that now has to be justified. So I'm going to have to go up here and turn on the property bar because I turned it off. View, user interface. Here's the properties bar. This is selected, and its justification is left justified. I would change that to right justified text, so it shortens this up. So we have to watch the justification of the text. If it's on this side, if the leader's coming off the right side of the text, then it should be right justified and keep these short. If it's coming off the left side, it should be left justified. We want to watch the justification. So we have most of the information we need on here. I might add, just for the heck of it, I guess it wouldn't be for the heck of it, but We might put this dimension on there also to show that that's a 4-foot tall cement wall. Not worried about where the ground is right now. This would usually be, this wall is 6 to 8 inches out of the ground, especially on the part where the house sits on it. But this would be enough detail for us to build that footing. We don't need any drain system around it because it has no living space inside. There's no cement floor inside. Not going to worry about earth and some of the other stuff that you would show on here. We'll do that on the basement plan, on the full wall section. So this would be the minimum. Remember these dots here, how we made those, because you'll have to do that several times. And we'll do this guy on some of the same information.